All right, hello. Welcome back to another episode. This episode's probably going to be a short one. It's just really posing a quick question of has inflation changed for you? Well, I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to share with you a an article that inflation shows from a couple years ago. So let's just go ahead and just dive into that article right now. So this was a visual article from visualcapitalist.com. I love this website. They do some great visuals of stuff. So what I wanted to do was dive into here. US inflation, how much have prices increased? Now, this was done back in December 30th, 2022. So we're almost a year and a half. Yeah, just a little shy of a year and a half away from that. And how much have prices increased in that period of time? So let's say high inflation has been featured in the economy for about the last year. But how has inflation actually impacted the prices of everyday goods? This chart assesses the year-over-year percentage price change of basic daily goods and the overall categories they fall under. Now, here's the thing. Back to my question. When we look at this, have your prices dropped in these categories over the last year? Okay, that's what I want you to think about. And you may not have an answer right now, right? You may be like, Bob, how do I know? I'm not going to remember all this stuff. But I want to bring this up so the next time you go get gas, the next time you go to the grocery store, next time you do consumerism, I want you to understand what this means. I want this question to pop up because this is the problem with inflation, is that when inflation goes up, usually it doesn't cause things to go back down until over a period of time. Now, most of the time that doesn't happen. Okay. Remember, the Fed goal is 2% inflation. Okay. So if you look at, let's review this. So if we go over the rule of 72 in the finance world, there's something called the rule of 72. You take the number 72, you take the interest rate of something. So let's say inflation in this situation. So the Fed goal is 2%. So we take 2%, divide it into 72. It comes out with an answer of 36. That means 36 years, your dollar will drop to 50 cents value. Okay. So over that 36 years, what has to happen? Your earning power has to go up. Well, when your earning power goes up, what happens? Your taxes go up. Okay. So you have to make more to pay for inflation and taxes. This is why we call those the economic termites. Okay. And every year that goes by is the termite time that ticks away at your ability to have more time. Okay, so that's why time is a termite. And the last termite that we talk about is laws and regulations, and that's your politicians. They make changes, they do things, and that cause inflation to go up. So if the goal rate is 2%, so let's say you're a working stiff right now, you're 20. Okay, let's say you graduated college. I know it's not right at 20, but I'm just doing it for simpler numbers. And goal inflation for the Fed is 2%. So that means in 36 years, age 56, your dollar when you graduated is now worth 50 cents. Okay, so hopefully by 56, you've got a career, you've earned, you've made some decisions, you have some assets, all that kind of stuff, right? But what happens in the next 30 years when your 50 cents drops to a quarter? Okay. Now you're at the close to end of life expectancy, right? You're in your 80s, right? But what if inflation changes? Okay. Now this rule of 72 works for rates of return as well. So if you want a 10% rate of return every 7.2 years, your money will double at 10% rate of return. Okay. But we're just talking about inflation. So let's look at inflation. Okay. And let's say, okay, so 72, let's say inflation is 6%. No, let's just do 4%. Okay. Let's just do 4%. That means every 18 years. Okay. So it cuts it in half, right? So you're 20. Now you're at 38. Your dollar's worth 50 cents. Now you're 38. Okay, another 18 years at 4%. Now you're 56. Now your 50 cents is worth a quarter. You see what's happening here? Okay. And so that's just inflation. So you have to have more, which causes your income to increase, which causes what to increase? Your taxes. All right. So this is the game. All right. I'm not saying it's good or it's bad. It just says this is the rules to the game. This is what it is. And so, but we are still in that situation to where we need to understand what all this looks like so we can make decisions on our money, right? So let's take a look at this. Now, what I want you to do is let's go through this. So let me grab my little writing tool here. I got that. Okay. So food in elementary. So if you don't have any kids at school, right, the cost of food has increased in elementary, secondary schools. Okay. Um, but now let's take a look at things that fuel oil. Okay, 65% increase. Eggs, okay, so this is something that's more normal. Grew by almost 50%. Okay? Has it gone down? Has it gone down? Have you traveled? I've traveled a few times and airfares have not dropped. Okay? Butter, okay, another food. 34%. Has that dropped? Okay? Let's see here. Let's scroll up here. Flour, prepare and other flours up 25%. Public transportation, if you take public transportation, it's 24%. Oils for cooking, 22%. Rice and pasta and cornmeals, 17%. Bread, 16%. Coffee, 15%. Meats like chicken, 13%. Energy, up 13%. Gasoline, up 10%. Okay. Are these the same? Has prices dropped? Just a question. Fruits and vegetables up almost 10%. But here's the thing too, like with fruits and vegetables, the one thing that we saw from 2022, really about 6 months ago, things have improved a lot over the last 6 months. But fruit and vegetables, you buy them, they immediately, within a few days, went bad. That was never the case. And so it has changed a little bit now. It has improved now to where you don't have to buy fruit and vegetables and eat it that day or that next day. And there's nothing wrong with, so my wife and I, we're more European shoppers, so we like to shop every couple days because we find that we waste food. So if we just shop once, there's some things we shop once a week, like meats and that kind of stuff, because you can put them in the freezer and refrigerator. And if your plans change and you don't eat them, then that food won't go bad. Fruits, vegetables, those types of stuff. We're European shoppers. We will shop every couple days for that stuff. Okay. Alcohol beverages really haven't gone up a whole lot. If that's amazing. Beef actually went down, and smartphones went down. Okay. So anyways, the question again is, has these prices gone down? Since they went up, have they gone down? Okay. And again, I don't know the answer to this question. And truth be told, I really haven't made a habit of looking at it because when I'm buying eggs, I'm gonna buy eggs. It's part of my consumable diet. So whether I buy a dozen or 2 dozen, it really doesn't matter. They will be consumed and they will be eaten, right? That's part of my body health. So I have to. So if I stop eating eggs, well, I have to take protein in another area as well, right? And so which could be more expensive or could be less beneficial to my health. So you have to, right? So from a health perspective, you have to diversify. Who am I talking about health, right? I'm overweight. But at the end of the day, my point is that I need gas in the car so I can work, right? So you just kind of suck it up and do what you need to do. Now, what does end up happening, right, is goods and services that we have to increase our pricing and for our goods and services so we can afford purchasing other goods and services, right? And so that is inflation. So when you have articles or states like California that are raising minimum wage, you go check out my episode on that. That drives inflation. Okay. And that's not necessarily a good thing. Minimum wage is not a career wage. Those are entry level jobs. That should never, those should never, ever go up the way they have. They should never be treated as career jobs, ever, ever. The system should be designing a stepping stone. So yes, get a minimum wage part-time job, do it to a stepping stone. If you're working a minimum wage job, you can go to a community college and get the majority of your education free. Go get a free education. Learn a trade, learn a skill so you can make more and get away from the minimum wage. Okay. But I think the minimum wage, at least in California, is a way to control people, and to control, and at the end of the day, is it's going to increase state taxes as well, state revenue. So you at minimum wage at 15 or $20 an hour, you may end up bumping up to another tax bracket and causing your taxes to go up. Whether you're a higher bracket or not, your taxes will go up. And if inflation's higher, therefore, you see this circle, you see how it's designed. But anyways, give us a thumbs up if you like this content. And if you're not a subscriber, feel free to hit the subscribe button. We drop episodes every Thursday. So thanks so much, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.